On the eve of Survivor Series War Games 2023, there was a lot of buzz and chatter, with fans only talking about one name who they wanted to see: CM Punk. It was reported earlier that WWE intentionally announced Randy Orton's return after an injury that put him on the shelf for over a year for Survivor Series, so that it could ensure that fans wouldn't be expecting CM Punk to make his long-anticipated WWE return. The speculation continued, but it's now known that it was only a twofold intention behind this. So CM Punk is back in WWE. It's truly shocking. Despite Randy Orton's triumphant return to help Team Cody at War Games, all everyone was talking about was Punk, and for a good reason. Now that the best in the world is back home, making that return in his hometown, I was there. It is one of the loudest reactions I've ever heard as a wrestling fan. And after nearly 10 years, he is, once again, the most talked about man in all of pro wrestling. Yes, beyond WWE too. It's time to explore what lies ahead for CM Punk. It's Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin. Get into the comments below and let us know what you think about CM Punk returning to WWE and maybe who you want to see him tangle with. It's pretty simple. There's only one story for CM Punk upon his immediate return to WWE, and the wheels may have already been set in motion for that. While the camera was focused on Punk, there's been some fan footage of what quickly emerged during the fallout of his return. Since WWE had all of the contestants of the big men's War Games match already in the ring and cage, except for Drew McIntyre, who quickly left the area and actually left the arena, the moment seemed to have been hijacked by one man who wasn't happy about it. At least on everyone's cell phone, you could see it, and it was Seth freaking Rollins, who was furious. The footage showed an infuriated Seth Rollins being held back by WWE commentators Michael Cole and Corey Graves, along with some backstage officials and the WWE security team. Not only was Rollins trying to make his way towards Punk immediately, he was showing who was number one in the business by flipping the bird at him, while security and other people were just trying to calm everything down. We don't 100% know whether or not Seth Rollins was in on this entire big reveal, as it's been reported, but we certainly saw him have a legitimate level of passion in his response. I think we can confirm that. Seth Rollins is a true professional through and through, and while there's no actual report to confirm how much he knew and how he reacted in a certain way and whether or not it was scripted, you gotta say that there's something in play here. In case you haven't figured it out yet, Seth Rollins doesn't have a lot of love for CM Punk. Let's just say that we're being kind in saying that. The issues between them are not new, and they actually go back quite a while. CM Punk was a central key figure in Rollins making his WWE main roster debut once again at Survivor Series in 2012 in Indianapolis, where the Shield trio of Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns hit the scene, attacked the ring, and helped a then villainous CM Punk retain the WWE Championship in the main event. Fast forward to 2019, I interviewed Seth Rollins for Q101 Radio in Chicago prior to that year's Survivor Series, where this conflict once again arose due to a social media back and forth between Rollins and Punk, with Rollins going so far as to call out Punk to return to the ring for the match. Yeah, and then Rollins said this.
At the end of the day, if he wants to come on a show and run his mouth about me and about a company that he has no part of for the last 5 years, then of course I'm going to stand up for it. This is a place that has given me everything that I've ever wanted in my life. So if CM Punk wants to talk all the smack in the world, I've invited him a million times to now come to my ring, come to my domain on live television, where you can't hide behind anything, no desk in LA. Come. Let's do this thing, man. Let's fight. Let's fight it out like men. Bottom line is, wherever, whenever he wants to do the thing, if he wants to man up and do it, I'm there. For me, the only place the match happens is WrestleMania in the main event, because that's the only reason I'm picking a fight with him. I got no other interest than that. So if he's interested, it's out there, man.
Yeah, he gave us a big headline there. Since then, CM Punk did return to wrestling, except not for WWE, but for their arch nemesis AEW, making headlines there while also dissing WWE along the way and getting into separate backstage issues. CM Punk even returned for the formation of a new TV show, AEW Collision. And it was around this time that Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling interviewed Rollins during SummerSlam weekend and asked him about his opinion on the man named Phil Brooks, CM Punk. And this is what he had to say. "Oh, Philly Phil, stay away. Stay away, you cancer. Get away from me forever. I don't like Phil. I don't like Phil. He's a jerk. Did we just figure that out? No. Everybody in the room is like, oh no, did he just say that? Yeah, no, he's a jerk. Come on. We figured it out over there. We knew it over here. I don't want him back. Go do something else. See you later." In a separate interview not so long after this one with Covino and Rich of Fox Sports Radio, Rollins clarified his comments and cooled down his stance on Punk just a bit. He essentially said that it pained him to say such negative things about Punk because he had given his career so much. Rollins said that there is a place for him in the wrestling business, but he's not a fan of the headspace that Punk has been in for the last 6 or 7 years. In all likeliness, he didn't take too kindly to the brawl-out incident that occurred over in AEW with Punk and how he handled things backstage. If it was intentional, then you can be confident of the possibility of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a big match in the near future. If you think about it, this is the best possible direction for Seth Rollins as well come WrestleMania season. So he wants to make that money. Let's make that money. We're yet to see how WWE handles Punk and how they're going to build up the feud when there are 2 months of no premium live events until Royal Rumble 2023. And you have the looming threat of Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, with Damian Priest in the Judgment Day looming around every corner with that Money in the Bank briefcase that they could cash in on him. That is something that could maybe culminate on the way to the 2024 Royal Rumble in January. Here, Rollins needs to win it back clean. And while Punk enters the 2024 Royal Rumble, you can have virtually the entirety of December and January focused on Damian Priest and the Judgment Day, becoming a real threat to the World Heavyweight Champion in Rollins, and maybe they even cash it in on him and he has to chase it back for a big rematch at the 2024 Royal Rumble in January. Here, Rollins needs to win it back clean, while Punk enters the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble and wins the whole thing. This lines Punk up for what he wants, the main event of WrestleMania, something he never got to have in the past. And maybe some of you out there are like, hey, what about Gunther or Cody? We have a response for that. For Cody, it seems obvious that he's already locked in for the whole chasing Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship again, and all you need is a #1 contenders match at Elimination Chamber to determine that. As for Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, it might finally be time to start wrapping up that historic reign. Is that something that's above CM Punk right now? That's debatable. Also, Rollins is not the only member of the WWE locker room who appeared to be upset with Punk's reintroduction. Randy Orton, who was injured for well over a year with a lower back problem that nearly ended his career, made a truly triumphant return to the ring inside War Games. It's just clear that Punk is overshadowing him right now in the conversation, and the Viper may be in those same shadows, ready for a revengeful form in an RKO that comes out of nowhere. Yeah, maybe Orton didn't like his spotlight being stolen. Yeah, it's 2011's most underrated feud replayed for today. Let's not forget the former WWE NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura, who on WWE television has recently been instituting Punk's GTS finisher now and then, while also menacingly calling out some unnamed rival. Is the name of that rival CM Punk? Is Nakamura the appetizer for Punk before he gets on the road to WrestleMania? As for the World Heavyweight title, we'll see CM Punk win his first ever Royal Rumble. That's just our prediction. And then he'll lock down that WrestleMania 40 Night 1 or Night 2 scenario. If Cody versus Roman is headlining one of the nights of WrestleMania, maybe Punk and Rollins get to have that other night. This could also fulfill the dreams of Rollins to have that headline magic at Mania, something that he hasn't had, and something, once again, that Punk also wants. If you're thinking of WrestleMania 31 when he cashed in Money in the Bank, that hardly counts, right? And there you have it, a simple and effective build-up to the biggest possible match CM Punk can have outside of Roman Reigns in just a few months after his return. Speaking of CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, you can check out our fantasy booking video on how Punk versus Roman could go down. Let us know what you think in the comments below.